What's up, guys? Welcome to this week's episode of the Sports Sermon. It is Thursday, about 4:45 Eastern, so you guys have a reference of when we are recording. I'm Jason Gandhi alongside Dylan Staggy and Dan Majors. Make sure you follow the show at the Sports Sermon, sports with a Z. You can follow me on Twitter at jgandhi2425. You can follow Dan on Twitter at dmajors44, and you can follow Dylan on Twitter at staggydylan. But we are here, and this is a pretty big episode, one we've not done before since the new year. We are doing the college football preview series starting today. We're going to get one once a week, and today we've got the SEC West. We're going to go conference by conference. SEC West is today. That is Alabama, Auburn, Mississippi State, Texas A&M, LSU, Arkansas, and Ole Miss. Like I said, this is the first college football episode, so if you're a big college football guy, make sure you stay tuned. There will be a playlist on YouTube to be able to catch all of our college football analysis and more. But if you're a longtime listener, you know this much. Dan is our college football guy, so I'll let him take over the introductions and really just help us go through team by team. So Dan, take it away.
Yep, starting with the SEC West today. Biggest storylines out of any division in college football. So let's begin with Auburn, the SEC West champions. We're going to go in order of division standings from last year. So starting with the SEC West champions of Auburn, had the most unique season in college football last year where they could have ran the table and made the college football playoff with 2 losses. They went 10-4, 7-1 in the SEC. They beat Georgia and Alabama, then lost the SEC title, and lost the Peach Bowl to Central Florida. They return 13 total starters, 6 on offense and 7 on defense. Some notable losses include Kerryon Johnson, Cameron Petway, Trey Matthews, and Jeff Holland. So my first question to you guys is the biggest question mark. It has to be the running game. So what will that look like this year, especially under new offensive coordinator Chip Lindsey?
Yeah, so for me, I think the guy that's going to be somewhat of the X factor in the Auburn running game is going to be Cam Martin, true freshman. He's definitely a guy that can break the defense and extend the game long.
He was true freshman last year.
Sorry, true freshman last year, sophomore now.
Yeah.
He will definitely break the defense and can extend plays throughout the rest of the game. I think he's a kind of a big play, home run hitter type guy. I worry about the experience because we know Petway and Johnson were there, so didn't have much carries for him. But for me, I don't think it's going to be a very heavy running game this year. I think it's going to be Stidham opening up, heavy passing game, and just enough running to balance it out and keep defense on their toes. But I think it's going to be Stidham averaging 40 to 50 passes a game and really airing it out.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's going to be huge losing Petway and Johnson. Both of those guys were just amazing for Auburn. Not to mention 4 starters on the offensive line also. Again, like you said, with Stidham back, you've got to let him air it out. 3 wide receivers back in Slayton Davis and Craig Myers. So, you got to think that Auburn's, again, going to throw the ball a lot this year, especially at the beginning of the year. And they should be able to figure things out. By the end of their schedule, they've got at Georgia and Alabama and 2 of their last 3 games. So, if they can figure out some running game issues by then, I think they'll be fine.
I think this running game is very underrated. I'm a lot higher than you guys on it. Obviously, they lost most of the offensive line and their top 2 backs from last year, like you guys said. That sounds like a big problem until you realize they get back J.B. Grimes as their offensive line coach. He was here in 2013 in the same position when they made their title run, so I think that's going to be huge. Johnson and Petway, they'll be missed, but I really love Cam Martin. True freshman last year, like I said. And he might be the fastest running back in the SEC. Auburn is one of the only 2 schools to have a 1,000-yard rusher in each of the past 9 years. And I think they keep that going this year. Add Jared Stidham to the mix, like you guys said, and this offense is going to be lethal.
Yeah, I just think you think this running game's underrated. I just don't think they use it that much. I think it's going to be Stidham. For me, I wasn't as high on Stidham as you guys were last year. I thought, all right, he was good in Baylor, but let's see what he's got. He impressed me last year, so now, at least for me, I'm comfortable saying, all right, throw the ball 40, 50 times and go air it out.
Yeah, do you think they keep that streak going of 9 years with a 1,000-yard rusher?
The thing is, it depends on the games that get played. If Washington-Auburn's a shootout, and it goes high. I mean, if Alabama and them's a shootout, it usually isn't, but maybe it is.
Right.
If Georgia, Texas A&M, at Mississippi State, all those games, there's potential to be like 50-point games or like 17-10. So like, I don't know. I mean, if I had to put money on it, probably not, just because I don't trust Cam Martin as much as I did with Petway and Johnson. But I think there's definitely, like, I wouldn't be surprised if it happened.
I like the chances. So let's move on. So let's talk about the defense a little bit. Does Auburn have the best defensive line in the country?
So for me, Jeff Holland was a huge loss. He had 10 sacks, but I just worry about their experience. The talent is there, along with the coaching. Coach Malzahn's a great coach, just in general. But the SEC, everybody has talent. I have to give the nod to Clemson and Ohio State. Mm-hmm. Clemson's my number one defensive line, though, because of Clellan Ferrell, Christian Wilkins, and Austin Bryant. And Dexter Lawrence is so good. Like, do not get me started on Dexter Lawrence. Like, he is just so good. And so I have to give the nod to Clemson, probably then Ohio State, then Auburn, but definitely a top 5 defensive line.
All right. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Auburn is not having any problems on the defensive line. I have the same rankings as you, Jason. Clemson and Ohio State, obviously just way too much star power on those two. But Auburn, I mean, they're deep, and they have the best defensive line in this SEC West for sure.
Yep, I have them. Well, actually, I don't know about that. Honestly, you look at Mississippi State,
yeah,
that's solid.
I mean, they're up there
solid.
too.
But I have them as top 5. I think I'm not sure where in the top 5, but definitely top 5. Where you look at Mississippi State, Alabama, or Clemson, Ohio State.
Yeah,
I'm not sure where I would have them in there, but like Jason said, Jeff Holland, that's going to be missed from last year. But Davidson, Russell, and Brown, I think they all have a chance to make all SEC honors.
Yeah, I think that I would not be surprised if it. Like, I think Russell and Brown are like locks to make it, and I think Davidson's going to be that X factor. Can he get the job done and be a reason they're either very successful or miss out on title hopes?
Yep. All right, let's move on. Gus Malzahn signed a 7-year contract extension for $49 million with a $37 million guarantee. What's your guys' thoughts?
I mean, that just means the expectations are going to be huge for him. And I think that there's going to be years within this contract that he signed that he's not going to live up to his expectations because they have so many great teams in the SEC. And if he slips up in a couple games, goes 8-4, 7-5, he's going to take a ton of heat for that. But, I mean, it's something Auburn had to do. I mean, Malzahn's been amazing, so I do like the contract, but there will be years where he takes probably some unprecedented heat.
Yeah, I looked at it more from a financial side of things. He makes the 11th most money in college football. I don't consider him a top 10 coach. I think I consider him somewhere in the top 20s, so it's probably just a little higher than I would have paid him, but, like, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I think it's a good hire. You have to pay it if you're Auburn. You're not going to let him walk. Like, you're extending him. The guaranteed money is a lot. That surprises how much is guaranteed. 37 is a lot. But yeah, Dylan, I mean, you said the expectations are higher. For me, the one stat that just pops out to me when I look at Gus Malzahn that, like, where those expectations are higher is his Bulls. He is 1-4 in Bulls. Yep. You cannot have that as, like I said, a top 20 coach. So that's the stat for me that, like, really stuck out. Besides that, obviously, I think he's worth the extension. You have to do it. But, like, if we're going to go by nickel and dimes, maybe a little high.
Yeah. Interesting stat from Athlon Sports. In 5 seasons, Malzahn is 29-10 before November, but just 16-12 in November and beyond. So he definitely needs to work on finishing the season.
And they always get a cupcake game into November. So, like, take out some of those. And it's probably
this year they got Liberty on November 17th.
Every SEC.
Right, in between Georgia and Alabama.
And after November, you take out one a year. Probably puts you, like, how many years have you been here? 6. Yeah. So you take out 6 of those, 10 and 12.
That's crazy. Also, one of the main goals this year, or every year for Tiger fans, is to beat their 2 rivals in Georgia and Alabama. Last year, that was an amazing accomplishment for them as they knocked off both of them for the first time since 2013. And each of them went on to play for the national championships. That's huge. And then another thing, adding to the bowl games with Jason, his one win in a bowl game was the Birmingham Bowl.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, so the bottom line in college football is you've got to win your bowl games.
And, I mean, just one more stat I want to point out that I think is really interesting. 2018 was the 3rd year in a row Auburn played the national championship and the runner-up in their season. Like
really?
That, that's just crazy. Had to play both the previous year's national championship and the runner-up in the same season.
Yeah, because they played Alabama, Clemson, both years.
Yep.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you
Wow.
go. Yeah. It's just like that just shows how tough they schedule, but also like those aren't happening in November. So like, what's the difference if once November hits? Because like I'm saying, I look at it as he's 10-12 because I don't count those FCS games. I could coach Auburn to an FCS beating an FCS team.
Yeah.
Say go play football and you're going to beat them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, it wasn't last year. It was 2 years ago. They almost lost an FCS.
I know. That's what I was going to say. They almost lost to it. They were like incredibly close.
Mm-hmm.
I forget who it was, but I remember like I wasn't really watching.
I
was
like
like, whatever.
Jacksonville State or something
like that. I got the
Yeah.
alert on my phone, like close game. Auburn.
Yeah.
I was like,
I was watching.
What?
And
Yeah.
Jacksonville State should have won the game.
Yeah.
I think
It
they
was
went
like,
overtime.
yes.
It's such a classic Auburn. Doing one of those every year.
All right. So what's your record and standings prediction for Auburn?
I see growing pains in store just I mean, obviously taking with a grain of salt, they're not going to go like 2-10. Like growing pains in regards to like a top national contender. I have them going 10-2. I had them at 9-3 earlier. I think the obvious losses are at Georgia and Bama. That's brutal. I still think they finished second in the West. I'm high on another team that we're going to talk about later, where I don't think they're comfortably at second in the West, but I think they finished second, 10-2, but would not be surprised to see them drop 9-3. A game like at Ole Miss, which Ole Miss is horrible, but like it's a trap game. They've got a bye week coming up, and they're just relaxing. They take it easy, and they lose.
I think Washington. Do you think there's any chance Washington beats Auburn?
I would, like I'm saying, I wouldn't be surprised. I haven't delved into Washington yet to know. Obviously, I know they have Jake Browning, but like,
Myles Gaskin's still there.
Is he still there? Yeah. So like, those are things like I haven't dove into it personally to be like, oh yeah, for sure. But I wouldn't be surprised knowing the little that I do know about it.
Yeah. I mean, I also have, or you said 10-2, right?
10-2.
I have 9-3 because, I mean, those games, like, they beat Georgia and Alabama last year, but both of those were at Auburn. This year, they're at Georgia and Bama. Plus, there's just so many games that they definitely are going to trip up on at least one with Washington, LSU, Mississippi State. Ole Miss could potentially be a trap game, like you mentioned, Jason. Texas A&M's a solid team, too. There's just way too many games that I think they'll lose to Georgia, Bama, and then trip up on one of those.
Mm-hmm. I have them at 10-2, 6-2 in the conference, and finishing second in the West. Only toss-ups for me were Mississippi State and then the Georgia game, but Auburn hasn't won in Athens since 2005, so I gave the nod to the Dogs.
Yeah.
And so, the two losses I have is Georgia and Alabama. So let's move on to the Alabama Crimson Tide. They were 13-1 last year, 7-1 in the conference, lost to Auburn, beat Clemson in the Sugar Bowl, and then obviously won the national championship over Georgia, where Tua saved the day. They returned 10 total starters, 7 on offense, 3 on defense. Key losses include Bo Scarborough, Calvin Ridley, Bradley Bozeman, and many on the defense like Rashaan Evans and Minkah Fitzpatrick.
I cannot believe Minkah was the last guy you mentioned. He was so good. Minkah was so fun to watch. No, I know. It's just like funny. Like you went through these guys, and Minkah was just like another name. That's just how good they are.
There were so many on defense, though.
That's just how good they are. It's just like Minkah is just like an afterthought. But like you put him on like, I don't know, some random Big Ten team, and he's like a star. Like, he's just so good.
I agree.
Yeah.
So the only concerning part about the team, in my opinion, has to be the 3 starters returning on defense. So how much really should we look into that?
So experience is obviously crucial in college football. Ask Michigan last year. They had a good team, but no experience. We saw what happened with them. But Bama had the 6th recruiting class this year, number 1 the 2 years before, and have the best coaching staff in college football because they're headed by Nick Saban. Some can debate it if you want, but when you have Nick Saban, I'm putting my money on him.
Yep.
So I'm not too worried about it, just because you have the best coaching staff, and you have such talent everywhere. You have the most talent in college football, where it's like if they do have issues, it's almost a shot to them because there's no reason they should, even though they only have 3 starters on defense.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say the same thing. Like, those recruits, every single year that Alabama brings in on the defensive side, they don't really have anything to worry about in terms of talent replacing those guys. And the beginning of their schedule is just very easy. We all know Alabama schedules cupcakes for the out-of-conference. Louisville, the first game, is going to be their best out-of-conference game.
A lot tougher. But
yeah, I mean, this year Louisville's not going to be hard at all. And, I mean, Auburn's the last game. LSU in November, too. So I think Saban has these guys ready to play by that time. If there was a time where these guys were going to slip up and we'd have concerns, it would be earlier in the season. But all season to get experience, they should have no problems by the end.
Yeah, I agree. It seems like every year we talk about Alabama doesn't return a lot of guys, and so it might be an off year for them. It's never an off year for them. I mean, I'm looking at this. They get a top 5 recruiting class every year, like Jason said, and Dylan both. Still top 10 in every defensive unit this year, I think, and they'll have the best defense in the country. Raekwon Davis, he'll be the leader this year, and Dylan Moses, he'll be known throughout the country by the end of the year.
Yeah. I think he's one heck of a player. I think he's someone that
Moses?
Yeah, I think he's just somebody that people sleep on. And, like, I remember when he was in high school, he was just so good. So, yeah.
I saw some from Bleacher Report. It was like the next LeBron James of sports or something like that. It's like, really?
Bleacher Report exaggerates everything. Like, Zach and I always talk about this, like, Draymond could be on the wing and someone puts a dunk and be like, dunked on Draymond, career over. Like, and he'll like not even in the play. Or LeBron will do something, it's like King James does it again, he'll like pass the ball.
Yeah.
Like they over exaggerate everything.
Yeah, no, but Dylan Moses, he'll be huge this year, I still think.
Yeah.
So biggest storyline, biggest quarterback controversy, which one, Tua or Hurts? And also, should the other one transfer, what should the loser do?
You got to go with Tua. He is the future. He won them the national championship, and he has so much more playmaking potential. I mean, Jalen Hurts is solid. He's going to maybe throw one interception all year, but he's also not going to get you that many more touchdowns. I mean, Tua's like, they wouldn't have won that game. They wouldn't have won the national championship if Hurts played that second half. Tua,
I agree.
He just made so many more plays. And, yes, the loser should transfer also. I mean, Hurts is going to be a junior this year, so you would think he would also get the job next year because I wouldn't expect him to go to the NFL after this year.
Depends on his outlook. I mean, if he thinks he can make the NFL, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't draft him if I was a NFL team.
I totally agree.
And then if Hurts does win the job, Tua should also transfer. Or, no, I said that already. If Tua wins the job, Hurts should transfer. He's still got time. Right. He's definitely still a solid quarterback.
Yeah. So I'm with Dylan here. I got Tua. I actually called last year that he would end up leading the tie to the title if you listen to our SEC West podcast from last year.
Yeah, go check that out. That's still up on YouTube, too. Go check it out.
He is one of, if not the most gifted quarterback in the country, and you just can't keep that on the sideline. The only thing Hurts has going for him is his turnovers. If you compare the two players, Tua is the better passer in every category. Hurts is the better runner, but can be very inaccurate and lacks arm strength at times. There was a reason Saban pulled him in the title. So, I mean, you got to go with Tua. If Tua wins the job, Hurts, he could transfer or he could change positions with his athletic ability.
So I went with Hurts. I knew Dylan was going Tua. Did not know Dan was going Tua. This is why you guys were talking. You guys kept hitting on how much more talent he has than Jalen Hurts. You don't need that much talent from the quarterback position from Alabama. You need someone that's not going to screw it up. And that is what I look at with Jalen Hurts. He had one turnover in 559 snaps this year. There's a reason he won the job last year when Tua came in. Yes, Tua was young, but you have Alabama. You have the best recruiting class almost every year. You have talent out the wazoo. You don't need the talent to be some guy that's going to go out there and throw 40 times a game. Yes, you lose Bo Scarborough, but Damian Harris is somebody that is probably one of the best backs in the country.
Oh, yeah.
Hand the ball off to him. Hurts can throw it 20, 25 times. Throw 19 for 25, 180 yards, 200 yards. It's not fun. It's not flashy. No one's going, oh, look, Jalen Hurts in the Heisman conversation. But it's the reason you've gone 12-0 in years past. It's the reason you've done all this. Jalen Hurts is just like Greg McElroy, just like A.J. McCarron. They get the job done. They're not flashy. With all that being said, I thought this situation reminds me of a fantastic NFL situation that went about a few years ago, and immediately this came to my mind. Colin Kaepernick and Alex Smith. I know it sounds dumb, but it's a very comparable situation. Cap is flashy and had more dynamic ability. Alex Smith went down, and he came in and, quote, saved the day over Alex Smith. They trade Alex Smith. The Niners make it to the title the next year, but then are never heard from again. Alex Smith has a very just steady career in Kansas City. Smith never turns the ball over, but is sometimes too cautious. Cap can break out for an 80-yard touchdown, but also throw 5 picks. If we were talking about Arkansas, I would say Tua all day. You need someone that's going to win them games. Alabama has the most talent in the country. Debatably, Georgia is the only team that comes close. You've got a fantastic running back, like you said, the best in the country. I want my quarterback to be smart, and if you're smart and can throw the ball 5-6 yards, I would run 7-yard slants all day, 5-yard outs, all that kind of stuff. You don't need him to throw 50-yard bombs like Tua did to win the national championship, however deep that was.
He did. You did need
yeah.
that, though.
But that's such a prisoner of the moment. Yes, Tua, you needed him. And that's why you have backups for those reasons when the starters struggle. But I'm not benching a guy that is a junior now, has played for 2 years, has gotten so many games under experience. He's got national championship games. He's got all of this together. Why go away from it now? Because he had one bad half. Let Tua transfer. Let him go be a star at Arkansas. He's not going to Arkansas, but let him go star there. And I think he's one heck of a prospect.
But
can't
let
Alabama
him leave,
specifically,
though. How can you just let Tua leave?
Because, dude, literally next year you'll probably get the number 2 quarterback the next year. Tua's not that special when it comes to Alabama. He's good, not great in regards to Alabama. That's the thing is you just don't need...
Dude.
And that's crazy to talk about, but, that's just fact. He's not a star. He is because he's a star social media-wise, but, I'm not looking at him he's the reason they're going to win. He's, a good football player, but they don't need that at Alabama.
Tua is not a star.
He's a social media star, not a football star. He is known because he won the national championship. If he did that...
There's a reason he won the national championship.
Why didn't he play the rest of the year?
Because he was a freshman.
Why are you playing the national championship? You're still a freshman then.
Because you needed him to win the game.
That is the stupidest argument. Your argument he didn't play because he's a freshman, then he's playing in the national championship because he's a freshman. If anything, you're not touching him in the national championship because he's a freshman. That's stupid. Why would you put a freshman in the national championship without playing him? If it was because he was a freshman, you're not playing the national championship.
Was in,
no, you didn't play Tua because he wasn't the best quarterback on the roster. Nick Saban does not care what age you are. You could be 12 years old. He'll recruit you to come play next year. It does not matter what age you are. If you're ready to play, you're playing.
All right, listen. Okay, Alabama, most of their games, they're going to be blowouts. I understand that. But if you're in a dogfight, I want Tua Tagovailoa.
No, I don't.
Yes,
he can turn the ball over 3 times. I want Jalen Hurts is going to say, let's stick to our system.
If I am losing, I want Tua in the game.
Well, yeah, but you're not going to be losing. That's my point.
They're going to be losing at some point in the year. They're not going to be winning.
When is Alabama trailing?
The national championship game. They were in a dogfight.
Game. That is
they
one
They
game.
had a cake
It's a pretty
schedule last
important
year.
game, too.
I would, if Tua Tagovailoa, whatever his name is, starts, they will lose 2 games in the regular season. I would put money on that. They will lose 2 games in this regular season this year if he is the starter because he does not have the experience or the smarts to not force balls. He got away with it in the national championship, and that's great. He's a fantastic player. Don't get me wrong. I don't need that in Alabama. At Alabama, I am Nick Saban. I want a guy that will not make mistakes and will throw 1-2 touchdowns max a game. Give the ball to Damian Harris. He is so good. If Tua has the ball, he's going to want to throw it 30, 35 times.
He doesn't get
Hurts
that choice.
Does not. Yes, he does. He audibles everything. Do not tell me the quarterback does not have a choice on what you play.
Okay, if that happens, then bench him. Put Hurts in. You have Hurts.
Yeah, Nick Saban
but
is not letting
I'd rather
that
go
happen.
from Hurts to Tua than Tua to Hurts. Because Hurts is the vet. You can say, he won the job, Tua, be ready, just like the national championship. Nothing was wrong with what happened last year. Why change it? Everything went perfectly for Alabama. You won, then when you needed him to show up, they showed up. Hurts had one bad game. Why jinx it? It worked last year. Hurts has now played all of these teams twice. He's going to see him again. He knows it. He's just more comfortable.
You cannot keep maybe the most gifted quarterback in the country on the sideline.
You can. Yes, you can.
You can't. No, you can't.
What? So you're telling me if Hurts plays, they're going to be bad? They're not going to be good?
No. Hell no.
So why would you not go with the guy that you know will win you games?
Because you can be
you
better.
know Hurts is going to win.
You know Tua will win more games.
You cannot debate with me that Tua Tagovailoa is a question mark. You do not know what you're getting. You saw him play one half of football. You cannot tell me he's a guaranteed 12-0 quarterback.
Do you think Hurts is guaranteed 12-0 quarterback?
Yes. I have them 12-0 with no debate in my mind. Alabama is going 12-0 this year.
You don't think...
They are unbeatable this season if Jalen Hurts is their quarterback. He will not make mistakes, and that's what I want with a team that has this much talent. The same way I look at it with the Warriors. You do not want a guy that's going to come in and mess it up. You want a guy that's going to get the job done and get out of the way on your bench. Quarterback is like their bench in football because quarterback at Alabama does not do that much. We can all agree with that. He is not the most important position.
Because
the
they didn't
offensive
have a
line
great
and the running
quarterback.
back.
Now they have
A.J.
Tua.
McCarron was not a great quarterback. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
A.J. McCarron was a fantastic quarterback, one of the best ever to play college football, and he was still not the star.
No, not the greatest to play college
I didn't say the
football.
greatest. I said one of the. You're kidding.
No.
Yes, that is not a debate.
I mean, because
Look at his
winner, I
accolades.
get that,
Yeah,
but,
look at his stats and look at his accolades.
I don't know, dude. You have to go. You can't. I'm just going to keep on going back to it. You can't keep the most gifted quarterback in the country.
You
on the
can't
sideline.
risk
You just
this season
can't.
when you're opening up with Louisville, at Ole Miss, Texas A&M, LSU, Arkansas. These are not easy games. They're easy because we've seen such a.
Louisville,
if
Arkansas
Tua-
State, and Mississippi
Tua had
are
played-
easy games for Alabama.
If Tua played last year, all season, there'd be no debate. Sure. We haven't seen him play. If he was a grad transfer
Yes,
that
we
came
have.
in, we saw him play one half of football.
Against one of the best defenses in the country.
That doesn't sell me. I don't
How?
need one half of football against a
How?
good defense. Does not mean I'm starting him over a guy that just won 24 games the last 2 years. How many games he's won? 23. I'm not taking one half of football. That is such a prisoner in the moment concept.
You saw his talent last year. You cannot.
In one half, you saw Jalen Hurts win 23 games. How many games he won? I don't know if 23 is the number, but dang near, if not. I don't know how you can go away from a guy like Jalen Hurts when he has got the job done. He started as a true freshman.
Tua will get the job done too.
You
I
don't
have no
know that,
question.
though.
I
That's
have no question in my mind.
You have to. Part of you has to say, what is Tua going to give you? You've seen him play one half. You're telling me he's going to play like that every single
He's
half.
going to give me one of the best quarterbacks
You're
in
telling
the country.
you
That's
are
what he's
you are
going to
telling
do.
me he's going to do that every single half. Every single game he plays is going to look like that. No.
I mean, yeah, he's going to struggle. Hurts struggles too.
Exactly. But his struggle is not 10 for 30 with 3 picks. His struggle is, he had 60% completion instead of 85. Like, the dude doesn't make mistakes. That's the thing. And with Alabama, I feel like if you were the Alabama head coach, all you want from your quarterback is to not mess it up. I don't feel like that's a huge statement because any other school, this is not a debate.
Explain this to me. Why put Tua in the second half then? Why?
Because that's when you need to change. I'm not against putting Tua in again in the national championship if the same situation happens. That was the right call because at that moment, Nick Saban knows his players than anybody. That's
if I'm
fine.
Hurts, I wouldn't like that.
Well, yeah, you're going to be pissed, but once you get to have a ring on your finger and you get to hold the trophy, you're like, F it, I don't care, we just won the championship. I agree. Obviously, you're pissed if you're Hurts. This is my thing, though. Hurts can get you the games in the regular season. I know it sounds stupid, but if you need Tua for one half again, do it. Do it 10 times out of 10 again. Saban will make that call.
Tua's not
But for
like
3.5 quarters,
Yeah, Tua's
you've
going
got
to
to
transfer.
stick with one. You look at
I'm not saying we're in a 2 QB system. I'm saying you have him as the backup. You have a talent. He will be the best backup in the country. That's not a debate. And Hurts will be the
No
best
doubt.
backup in
He
the
could
country.
be the best starter in the
And
country.
Hurts would be the
That's
best.
facts.
That's not facts. Do not lie to yourself right now. Do not tell me he's the best quarterback in the country. You are out of your mind. If you're telling me he's better than Will Grier, you are out of your mind.
I'm not saying he is.
And
He's going
Jarrett
to be one
Stidham.
of them. He's definitely going to be one of them.
He will not be top 10.
Okay.
You are out of your minds. This guy had one half of football, and you
We
act
watched him play.
What? When did you watch him play, Dan? You watched one half of football. 14 for 24. You saw that's it. Don't tell me you've watched him when they played the
Against
Citadel
The
in the
best
third quarter when he got to
defense
come
in the country.
24 passes! That's all you've seen from him. How are
Against
you
the best
sold
defense
on a
in the
guy on
country.
24 passes?
If you go and you recruit, if you're looking to sign somebody, and if you can evaluate them against the best defense in the country for one half and see what they can do,
Or you can see a
Oh
guy.
my gosh.
Yeah, so you're telling me you go to a football game and you've coming to watch this guy who you've been keeping an eye on for 2 years. He's won the national championship he won the national championship the year before. They won a bunch of games the entire season. You come, he gets hurt for some reason. This guy comes in, there's 24 passes. Now you're like, screw it, I don't want him anymore. I want this guy. No way in heck you're doing that. You are not giving up on a guy that you have had your eye on as a coach for 2 years. You're talking about this from a recruiting perspective. Guy you've had your eye on for 2 years. You've gotten to know. You've watched all of him. And then you see this guy come in, throw 24 passes in the national championship or the biggest stage where everyone's like, it's the best defense. And you're saying, oh, this guy's not that good. I want this guy. You're not changing like that. 24 passes, you're not put. If you were in this situation where you had to pick one to recruit to your school, I'm telling you, you're not putting your job on the line on a guy you saw throw 24 passes.
well,
I think Tua is more talented. I want to make that clear. Tua is more talented. That's not a debate.
okay, then why not play?
How many D1 programs are there?
125.
In
something like that.
124, I'd say Tua should start. Probably 123. Probably not Georgia. I want to say guy Georgia too. The other 223, put the most talented guy in. For those two schools, for Alabama, I want the guy that will not make mistakes and make sure we win every game, and that is Jalen Hurts.
Okay, I'm not keeping one of the most gifted quarterbacks in the country on the sideline. So
I'm not risking it with all the talent we have.
All right. So let's move on. Alabama, obviously, I think greatest dynasty in college football history. There's no doubt about that, especially lately. Where do you rank them in greatest dynasties in sports history? And when will the dynasty end?
I think this is pretty easy to say. Just whenever Saban retires, I mean,
I agree.
Yeah,
but I mean, you gotta look.
I mean, who's his successor? I think people would have said 2 years ago it would have been Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin taking over Alabama?
No,
come on.
But you also got to look. There's so many dynasties that have happened in college football, and they don't last. Like, how long?
Are you saying shorter? I think you're going to say longer. You're saying shorter. You think Saban's there when it goes down?
I don't know.
Okay, I thought you were taking it the other side.
You look at these other dynasties. None of them have gone on this long.
That's not true.
I mean, if you want to go all the way back to like Yale football,
I'm talking like
in the
what do you mean?
How long do you think Alabama's
10s,
success
20s.
started? 2010, 2009.
Okay, I'm talking like 50s, 60s and on.
I'm not talking that.
What are you talking then?
UConn women's basketball.
Oh no! Sorry, I'm not talking about sports history. I'm talking about college football.
I think you said sports history.
No.
My apologies.
Well, okay.
I agree Alabama's best in college football. I don't think that's
okay.
debatable.
Yeah, but I'm talking if you look at the college football dynasties.
Yeah.
They've ended
Yeah.
quicker than what we've seen Alabama do already.
But see, this is such a different game where that's the thing. Alabama is doing this so much differently than any other team. Going back to the conversation we just had, any other team, what is the most important position in college football and NFL football? It's the quarterback. But Alabama's isn't. It never has been. That's why they're so successful, because they have enough talent every year where the quarterback is like it's like,
I understand.
What are
but
you're not that much more important than the left
tackle. It has
tackle.
to end at some point, is what I'm saying.
I agree. I mean, obviously, no one's gonna say this goes on forever, but why not when Saban ends? What's Saban gonna change?
I don't know, dude. Okay, how
only
long do
way
you
it
think
ends-
it'll go on?
I think Saban retires in the next 10 years.
In the
That's
next
insane.
10 years.
No, I'm just saying that's insane.
Another 10 years would suck for college football.
Like
of watching Bama
it's
be
gonna
good,
be
but I think-
insane.
Wait, do you think that's not long enough
No, I think that's really long.
before Saban retires?
10 more years?
I mean,
Yeah,
10
I'm
more
gonna
years
say
of that?
I don't know.
That's
He's been
crazy.
here 12.
Yeah, 24 years.
He's coached 23
Yeah.
in the FBS.
I don't think that's that crazy. 10 years. I say within 10 years. Could be 5. Could be 7. It's not. It's not. This recruiting class will have him for the next 4 years. That's not debatable.
I mean, yeah, but it's like it's just so crazy, dude. And I mean, I think this is definitely the best sports dynasty in the 21st century. I would say that. Okay, UConn women's basketball.
UConn women's basketball is insane, dude. I have Alabama 4th.
How'd they do
Of
last
all-time
year?
dynasties.
How'd they do last year?
All right, Dan, calm down.
Huh?
Are you all right?
Go Irish, man.
I knew you were gonna say that. I think they're 4th. I have UConn.
4th?
I have
Whoa.
UConn women.
Whoa!
UConn women.
Don't give me the Warriors.
I'm not giving you the Warriors.
Okay.
Calm down.
All right.
UCLA basketball. UCLA
Okay,
basketball is so
I'll give you
dominant.
that. I'll give you that.
Number 3, Joey Chestnut. Please tell me someone that can stop him.
Oh,
Please
man.
tell me the dynasty that's going to stop Joey Chestnut.
Okay,
Wait
bro.
till July 5th.
It's not a sport.
What are the acronyms for ESPN?
Okay, bro.
What is it called?
I'm not.
What did ESPN just show yesterday?
Okay,
Do
we're
not
getting
hate on
into
Joey
this
Chestnut right now.
We're not getting into this.
Joseph Chestnut. I don't know his middle name, but I need to find it. That man is the 3rd greatest dynasty in sports.
Bro, you
Oh.
gotta stop.
You've got to be kidding me. Joey Chestnut is better than Alabama. No one on Alabama's football team can
Okay,
beat him.
just
hot dog
move on.
eating.
Let's
No one
just
can beat
ignore-
him.
I'm just gonna ignore that.
Joey Chestnut, number 3. And then I have Bama. So, if you
Tua
want
or
to
Joey
so
Chestnut?
I have definitely Joey Chestnut. But, yeah, so if you take out Joey, I'm going UConn, UCLA basketball, then Bama.
Okay.
And then Joey, of course.
I don't know.
Chestnut's good.
Dylan, what do you have? Or did you already say?
Yeah, I mean, like, if you want to go back to, like, Yale football
Well, I
and,
don't,
like, the...
so.
Yeah, I don't even... Maybe, like, top 10.
Name me a player on there and it'll count it.
All
But,
right.
yeah.
So let's get into what's your prediction for the year, record and standings,
Who's starting?
and also are they beatable?
Who's starting?
Either one.
12 and 0.
I mean, Tua's most likely going to start, so that's the way I would look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'll start since Jason is second-guessing himself now.
I did not say anything. I just asked who was starting.
All right, Dylan, you go.
I'll go 12-0, and I think they are beatable, just not with the schedule they have in the regular season.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I took this as Hurts being the starting quarterback. I think anything short of 12-0 is disappointing. They have to go 12-0, and they're obviously going to finish first in the SEC West. If Tua starts, I think 1 loss is guaranteed. 2 losses is not surprising. I think...
Oh, man.
What?
Dude, you look at everything else around. You said the quarterback position doesn't matter. You literally said that.
I think Tua will mess this season up if he is the starter.
Oh, my gosh.
He is not smart. He is not smart.
Okay, you don't know that.
Yeah.
I know it.
I'm bringing the point back to you.
He is not.
Right back to you. You don't know that if he is smart.
Say that.
You don't know that.
Okay, so let's negate the entire national championship then. Then who are you starting? If you don't know that he's good, I don't know he's not smart, then negate the national championship. Okay, that didn't matter. Now who the heck are you starting, Dan? Let's ask you round one of the college football.
Last year I was high on Tua last year.
Round one of the college football playoff. Do not tell me you were saying, let's start Tua, bro. You were saying Hurts. So you can't tell me that you're going to negate the national championship. I saw him play very good, but there were definitely flaws. He did not play a perfect game. We're not going to act like he did. He was not perfect.
Okay.
So if you're going to look at the good and the bad, if you translate that to an entire season, I think he makes crucial mistakes in late game situations against a team a team like Auburn, a team at LSU. LSU's horrible this year, but it's at LSU. It's still a tough place to play. There are holes in this team. Dang, at Louisville. If Louisville neutral at Louisville, like if you play Louisville, Tua comes out struggling, like Louisville could be a sleeper. Yes,
no,
you have seen 24 passes.
I don't think you've looked at Louisville yet to see that they are not going to be as good as last year, especially
obviously
since
they don't have the Heisman.
Gone.
Yeah,
you look at Alabama's defensive line; they will destroy Louisville's offensive line.
It'll be a disappointment if Alabama does not win by 30.
Dylan, tell me one thing about Louisville right now. You don't know anything about Louisville.
Just I know they're bad.
Okay,
like, come on. Like, do not try and, roast me on Louisville now. Like, you don't know anything about Louisville either. Like,
I mean,
calm
you
down.
can't
Let's
say that they're
going
to upset Alabama.
I didn't say that. I said
so
I
it'll
would.
be a tough game. Right.
Yes. There are holes in this team, with number one being Tua, if he is starting, because I am worried about his decision-making late game. He has no experience besides one half of football in college football. I'm not banking my season on him. I think 11-1 if Tua plays, 12-0 if Hurts plays.
Do you think they win the national championship either way?
No.
Do they win the national championship if Hurts plays?
Yes.
Okay, they make the playoff, though, with Tua.
Yes.
Do they win the SEC championship?
No.
So they don't
Georgia
win the
beats
SEC.
them in the SEC championship. Well, they don't make the playoff then. No, they don't make the playoff then. Yeah, sorry. They don't make the playoff then. No, Georgia beats them. That's their second loss.
Right.
They lose one game in the regular season, second loss to Georgia.
Okay. I think either way, 12-0, they will finish first in the SEC West, obviously, and they will win the national championship either way. It's a weak schedule, like Dylan said. Out of these teams, probably they're not beatable, except I look at a team like Mississippi State. If that was on the road, that would be tough. LSU, I'm not high on them. But in Death Valley, that probably not.
That's a trap game. They're coming off a bye. You got Mississippi State next. That's a trap game.
Off a bye. Nick Saban's 19-7. Just saying.
About to be 19-8. Just saying. I'm
Okay.
just kidding.
Wait, that's not Alabama, I guess. So I was thinking if that was only Alabama, like that
LSU's
off.
off.
that is
LSU is also off of a
Really?
bye. LSU is also off of a bye.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying Alabama-wise, that could be a trap game. Like at LSU, and then you have to play Mississippi State, who if they're hot, you're looking past LSU, they're struggling. Who knows? Ed Orgeron definitely on the hot seat, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Playing for his job. Who knows?
So I look at Auburn, tough game, and then the SEC Championship, a tough game. Those are two games that they are beatable in, but I do not see them losing.
I don't think they're beatable if Jalen Hurts is their quarterback.
But
I think they go undefeated through the entire season.
Okay.
Georgia is their closest game in the SEC Championship. I have no idea how good the other teams are. I have not looked at anything besides the SEC.
Okay.
But they're not. Their closest game would be Georgia either way.
All right. So should we move on to LSU? Any other
I'm good.
comments?
I mean, yeah, I feel like I've made it pretty clear. I'm all in on Hurts. You guys are all in on Tua.
Right.
I think Zach's all in on Tua too, if I remember correctly. So it's 3v1. Don't blow a 3-1 lead.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to the LSU Tigers. They went 9-4 last year, 6-2 in the SEC, finished third in the West Division. They had a key win over Auburn and then lost to Notre Dame in the Citrus Bowl. They returned 10 total starters, 5 on offense, 5 on defense. Their key losses include Darius Geis, Danny Etling, Greg Gilmore, Dante Jackson, and Arden Key. So my first question...
Shout out Arden Key, Oakland Raider. Keep going. Yeah, I love Arden Key.
First question, seems like we're talking about this every year with LSU, is the quarterback position. What to make of it? What do you think?
I mean, it's just not going to be very good this year. Like,
shocker.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. I mean, Louisville. LSU is going to struggle mightily on the offensive side. A lot of guys back on defense, but, I mean, that quarterback position is just going to be one part of a very bad offense.
5 starters sit on defense?
Right, but their linebackers and secondary is looking solid.
They lost their best linebacker, bro.
Okay.
Arden Key should have been top 5 pick.
They'll revamp.
Yeah, so I think everyone's in agreement it's not going to be good, but like it truly just has not been good since JaMarcus Russell. What year was that? 07? 06? Yeah. So like you just look at those guys that have come through there, like Danny Etling, shout out Purdue. He got drafted, but he wasn't good. Yeah, Brandon Harris, not good. Who else came through there? Zach Mettenberger, average.
He was probably the best
since JaMarcus Russell. Yeah. What else? Like, I mean, you were the bigger LSU fan before.
Jordan Jefferson.
The who? Like, I mean, I know who it is, but like, yeah. No. Just like, you know what I'm saying? They're like, they just haven't had a good big guy since JaMarcus Russell. And you just got to think, I mean, like, I know this is not what you're planning on talking about, but like, that is literally wide receiver university.
Right.
Think about if they had a quarterback. That Jarvis Landry OBJ team, oh my gosh. You give him a Jalen Hurts or a Tua or whoever, like, oh my God, it's like the funnest team ever to watch. Like, just... They have such good wide receivers and defensive backs, and yet they have no quarterback. I think Burrow's a good pickup, just a rival with Miles Brennan. I don't know who will start. Dan said that it's leaning Burrow. I don't think either are superstars. I don't think either are like horrible. It's better than what they had last year, I think. I think either was better than Etling. Etling was like similar where he's not going to make mistakes, but just like LSU doesn't have the talent to be able to have that type of quarterback. So I hope Miles Brennan can do it because he's been there longer, and I like to see those young guys overtake grad transfers. But if Burrow does it, then, I mean, I think LSU can somewhat stay competitive.
Yeah. I mean, I got Burrow starting, and I think he'll do fine. But, I mean, they also lost their top 3 receivers. They lost Darius Geis. I mean, this offense is going to struggle. And
that Geis is a big loss because, like, they went from Fournette to Geis, so Fournette didn't feel like a big deal. But then, like, now
Geis was still solid.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So, yeah. So let's move on. Record and standings prediction for LSU.
So this is a rebuilding year, but like for the Tigers, like it's never rebuilding. Like I still think they go 7-5, 8-4 at best. I went 7-5. I think Miami's a tough opener. I have no idea how good they are, but like they're tough because they were good last year. Sweet, cool. I just knew they were tough last year. At Auburn is obviously hard. They have Bama and Georgia at home, which is nice, but not when you have a team like this. Like, if this was a few years ago, I'd be like, oh, that could be big, but they're not good enough to compete with either of them. So right there is 4 losses, which puts them at 8-4, and I think they drop 1 to 2 more. So I went with 7-5 on the optimistic side that Brennan or Burrow gets it done, so I think they go 7-5.
So you have Miami, Auburn, Georgia, Bama.
And then one more somewhere.
One more.
Yeah, I think they can. I think they can beat at Texas A&M or at Mississippi State or Florida. Florida, I mean, I love Dan Mullen, so it's hard to pick against him. But like Felipe Franks was not good last year. I don't think he's gonna be great this year. Like they
return a lot of guys. They return 19 starters. I think
they're a team where it's like you have a lot of returners, so great. But also like, what if they don't buy into the new coach? That's where I question marks.
I think Florida, I'll give it to you, but Mississippi State and A&M, I think they drop both those.
Both? I don't know. I think they could beat Mississippi State because it's homecoming. And, I mean, that just brings some more energy. Obviously, that's not going to make the difference. But, like, that gives them some energy. That brings them some excitement.
I think higher on Mississippi State. They got their piss because they lost.
Yeah, I'm not high on Mississippi State. I'll put that out there now. I think they
great. Then we're going to have a great argument here.
I don't know enough to argue with you about Mississippi State. I can argue with you about Bama all day because I watch and feel good, but I can't argue that much with Mississippi State.
All right. So I have them at 5-7. 2-6 in the conference, finishing 5th in the West. They have the toughest schedule in the conference. I don't see a way they beat Miami, Auburn, Georgia, and Bama. And then Ole Miss, Florida, Mississippi State, and Texas A&M are the toss-up games, but the only one I give them the nod to is Ole Miss.
I have a question. Is Malik Rozier still Miami's quarterback?
I think so. Yeah. I haven't totally looked into him yet. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know if I can buy Miami again, dude. He was so bad last year. Like he was like Hurts, but then at the end just turned into like the worst quarterback of all time. Like he didn't make mistakes, and then when they need him to, he made mistakes. Like I just do not buy Malik Rozier. So that
he is currently projected to start.
Yeah.
So he's playing. Okay. I didn't know if he was still there.
He's there.
Yeah, so that's a concern. Obviously not against LSU. They'll be fine. I just meant, like, as we were talking about Miami a little bit, Rozier I'm not sold on.
Okay. But you still think...
I still think LSU. Yeah, they'd still beat LSU, obviously. There's no way they'd lose.
So let's move on to Texas A&M. Big storylines here. They went 7-6 last year. 4-4 in the conference. Finished 4th in the West. Tied for 4th in the West. They started the year 4-1, but finished it 3-5. They returned 16 total starters, 8 on offense, 8 on defense. They lose Christian Kirk, Armani Watts, and Coda Martin. They had the biggest coaching hire of the offseason, signing Jimbo Fisher, Jason's guy, to a 10-year, $75 million contract. So, thoughts on Jimbo?
I just have 2 questions for you, Dan. Who is their coach again?
Jimbo Fisher.
What I said Florida State was going to do last year?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
What I said they were going to do last year? I said they were going to go undefeated with my boy DeAndre Francois.
No.
I think this team is a sleeper team. It is crazy experience.
Oh,
no. I don't think they will compete with Auburn or Bama, but they are the next tier down. They are finishing 3rd in the SEC West.
Okay.
They are so good. Jimbo is my boy. I love Jimbo Fisher. I had a CYO coach named Jimbo. Great coach there.
His name was not Jimbo.
Yes, it was. Shout out Jimbo, my CYO coach. But I love the Jimbos, and I'm definitely giving Jimbo Fisher the benefit of the doubt. 9-3, finishing 3rd in the West.
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta love the Jimbo hire for Texas A&M, but I still have them behind Mississippi State. 8-4, finishing 4th in the conference.
I like it.
I want to make one more comment. I hate Kellen Mond, so if he plays, I'm going to be so mad. I hate that guy. I think he's so bad. I think he's so overrated. But that's just my personal opinion. I forgot he's on that team. Nick Starkel's a baller, though.
Yeah. So Jimbo, I think he will get this team to double-digit wins at some time in the next 3 years. Yeah. No, not right now.
I got so excited.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
I think they're going to go 11-1. I was like, let's go. Jump on the Jimbo train.
But
Clemson, Alabama, Mississippi State, Auburn.
That's what I think they lose. Clemson,
3 of those
Bama,
on the
Auburn.
road.
Yeah. Clemson's brutal. That's a brutal game too.
Right.
Home or not the home opener, but still the first Saturday game.
They have the second toughest schedule in the conference, definitely.
Dude, I'm wearing my Johnny Manziel jersey for this reason today. I'm all in on the Aggies. Come on, they're my sleeper team this year.
All right.
I love them.
One thing I want to mention, most overlooked, is the Mike Elko signing at defensive coordinator. Coming from Notre Dame and Wake Forest, where he had remarkable stints, he completely turned around that defense at Notre Dame, where he allowed 20 points or fewer in 10 of his 13 games there, and that defense was atrocious the year before.
Yeah, what a baller of a coach. It's all the reason they're going to be so good. I know nothing about him, but if you like him, if he has your stamp of approval, they might go undefeated.
That is a huge sign. It's big for Notre Dame that they lost Mike Elko. So,
dude, Christian Kirk gone, so sad. If Christian Kirk would have stayed, might have gone undefeated.
Definitely not.
No, I've gone undefeated.
Nope.
But
all right.
might have been I love Christian Kirk also. Shout out Christian Kirk.
All right.
Love that guy.
So I got him going 8-4, 5-3 in the conference, finishing 4th in the West.
I'm just kidding. It's not that bad.
Way too tough a schedule for Jimbo to turn around this year.
It just sucks. That is such a hard schedule for trying to get used to these guys without a recruiting class. Because if Jimbo would have had a recruiting class, who knows?
Yeah, so you got him losing to Clemson, Alabama,
and Auburn.
Okay, I got him losing to Mississippi State also.
Oh my goodness.
So
I had a feeling that was coming. When we were taking notes, I might even say this is on. If now I was just thinking, I was like, oh, Dan's definitely gonna be on high on Mississippi State. It's just such a Dan team to be high on. I just had a feeling.
Are they the NC State of this year?
That's what I was just gonna say. They are your NC State of this year. Oh my goodness.
If you guys didn't know, I was a huge NC State supporter last year, and they actually did really well. They got screwed in 2 games, but anyway.
So yeah, check that out. Dan goes off on NC State last year. Check out how he called Tua being the Alabama National Championship, and that is reason 912 to not listen to Dylan or I, or just listen to Dan on college football, because we know nothing compared to him.
Okay. Anyway, Mississippi State. Let's move on to them. Went 9-4 last year, 4-4 in the conference, finished 4th in the West. They played Bama to a very close game, and then beat Louisville in the Tax Slayer Bowl. They returned 17 total starters, 9 on offense, 8 on defense. Their key losses include J.T. Gray and Martinez Rankin. They signed Joe Moorhead from Penn State after Dan Mullen left for Florida also. But let's look at a guy, Nick Fitzgerald. A lot of people are high on him. Is he one of the best players in the country?
I like located ankles. I don't trust him. I'm worried about injuries. That was a nasty injury. I just am worried about the beginning of the beginning of the season. They're lucky because it's easy. But I think I might have said this earlier. I am a big Dan Mullen guy, and so I think this is going to be a harder adjustment because Dan Mullen's gone. I forget the first kid. Moorhead, I just know his name is. I'm trying to think of his first name. Joe. I don't think he's going to be terrible. I think he'll be fine. I just don't think he's got the Dan Mullen, let's go fight for, everything. I don't know. I just really like Dan Mullen as a coach, so I'm worried about them falling off a little bit with regard to that. Luckily, they have an easy schedule. Like I said at the beginning, their first game doesn't come really until Florida, September 29th, which is a crazy fun game because of Dan Mullen being there. I worry about Fitzgerald, like I said, because the mobility, obviously a dislocated ankle is not that big of a deal, but it was a nasty injury. It was just gross, and no one really liked to see it. I'm worried about that. I don't see him in the Heisman conversation just because I don't think the team's good enough to keep him in the conversation. I think they go 9-3, maybe 8-4, but I think I'm pretty happy at 9-3. I think they lose to Florida, Texas A&M, and Bama. Finish fourth, like I said.
Florida at home?
Dan Mullen's going to come in and win. You're telling me he's not going to get one more win in Starkville?
I
Dan Mullen.
I thought of that at first. I was like, crap, he's coming back. They're going to be fired up as hell to play Dan Mullen.
You're telling me Mullen's not going to get Florida fired up? He can get me fired up. I'd go play football tomorrow if Dan Mullen came and talked to me, bro.
He just left for another team in your conference.
Yeah.
They're going to be fired up to play.
I don't know.
Oh, man.
No.
Don't even get me
started. Dude, I think you have a point there. I like Florida. I have no idea who's on their team. I like Dan Mullen. That's why I like him.
Bro,
so,
you gotta
I love Dan Mullen, bro. And there's a lot of newness around the Bulldogs. There's not a lot of consistency.
There's
between
17 starters coming back.
That does not mean that they all, the whole team's newness. You can't only play with 22 guys, Dylan.
Okay, but there's not a lot of newness coming back. He did kind of get you
there. There definitely is. You have to replace... The year before that, they had to replace Fred Ross. Then they got back their guy in Donald Gray. There are holes in this team.
I mentioned their two key losses, J.T. Gray and Martinez Rankin. That's
yes, but those are not sweep under the rug, no big deal. There are losses on this team that I do not think this team is as strong as you guys are making it sound. It's not like this team is going to compete in the SEC West. They are not in this Tier 1 conversation. I would take Texas A&M over them because I think the teams are about even, but Jimbo, along with just College Station, all of that around them, I think the atmosphere puts them over Mississippi State. So I think they come in fourth. I'm not hating on Mississippi State. I'm just saying they're not a safe pick by any means, in my opinion.
Okay. Dylan, what do you think about Nick Fitzgerald, and what do you think Mississippi State does this year?
Yeah, the Fitzgerald injury is obviously going to be the biggest question for them, but I think if he comes back for that, he is a Heisman candidate.
Definitely.
And, you look at the schedule for Mississippi State, it's definitely not bad. Florida, Auburn, and Texas A&M all at home.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama on the road, I think they for sure lose that one.
Yep.
But, I could put their ceiling at 11-1.
I like it, Dylan.
But
I like it.
I still have them at 9-3.
Okay.
But I think there's a lot of potential for Mississippi State to make a run.
One thing, Jason, if the injury wasn't there, what do you think about Nick Fitzgerald?
I think he's fine, but I don't think this team is good enough to make him in the Heisman conversation.
All right.
I just do not buy this team. They're good and they're fine, but there are holes on this team, and just because they're returning does not mean they're good. Montez Sweat is a baller. Don't get me wrong. I love him. And Fitzgerald, though, yes, he's got talent, but he's got to prove it to me with a team that's not as good. I also was not high on Dak Prescott, so maybe I'll be proved wrong. I didn't think Prescott was that good either. I thought he was an above-average quarterback at best. He was great. So I hope they prove me wrong. I hope Mississippi State balls. I just don't see it.
Okay. Key thing I look at is the 17 returning starters, including a Heisman contender in Nick Fitzgerald, a 1,000-yard rusher in Aris Williams, and arguably the best defensive line in the country, led by Jeffrey Simmons and Montez Sweat. This could very well be my surprise team of the year. I am in love with everything except for Joe Moorhead. I think that's going to be the only real question mark for me. Besides Georgia, Mississippi State played Alabama the best game of the whole season, and they were tied in the fourth quarter at one point. So, and they only lost by 7.
Yeah, I mean, there are only 3 losses before Nick Fitzgerald got hurt against Ole Miss, where Georgia, Auburn, and Alabama.
Yeah, that is so true. I have them going 10-2, and 6-2 in the conference, finishing 3rd in the West, losing to Auburn and Alabama, and competing for an SEC West title. I think they keep Auburn and Alabama close. 10 wins is not too much to ask for from a 9-win team last year that returned so many guys. The only other game that is tough is Florida, in my opinion, with Dan Mullen coming back, but they will be fired up to play him. Every other toss-up game is in Starkville. So I'm in love with this Mississippi State team, and I can't wait to watch them this year.
All right.
Any other comments? Yeah? Okay. So let's move on to Ole Miss and Arkansas. Really the only two without any big storylines. So Ole Miss, they have a bowl ban for 2 more years, and Arkansas is bringing in Chad Morris to replace Bielema in this tough SEC West. Both have 2 different situations, but what should be the focus this year for each team?
For me, I think you look at Ole Miss. It's a brutal schedule. 3 of their 4 SEC home games are Bama, Auburn, Mississippi State. So they really only have 1 chance at winning an SEC home game. I think Luke got the job because they beat a Fitzgerald-less. Hold on. I think Matt Luke got the job because they beat a Fitzgerald-less and a head coach out-the-door Bulldog squad. I don't think Mississippi State cared as much as soon as Dan Mullen said he was gone, as soon as Nick Fitzgerald got hurt, the game was in the bag. Ole Miss. It wasn't like I wasn't impressed by Matt Luke because they beat Mississippi State. I was like,
okay,
you still have something to prove.
Okay.
That's what I want to see. I want to see him prove it to me. I want to see Matt Luke say, look, I deserve to be here because. The same thing with Ed Orgeron. When he got the job as the interim at LSU, I said, prove it to me. I don't want to see it because you could win half a season. I want to see 1 year, year 2, what's up. And that's what I look at for Ole Miss. For Arkansas, 17 starters come back. I like the experience, but they're not good starters. Same thing, like they don't do anything for me. So this is what I look at. They just have to buy into Morris' system. If they do that, they can be back in a conversation of contending for Tier 2 in a year or 2. I like Tier 2. I didn't say to contend.
Tier 2 of the SEC West.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant. If that's not clear.
Gotcha.
I think obviously Auburn, Alabama, and Texas A&M in a few years will be up in that Tier 1.
Yeah.
I think Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Arkansas, LSU are all up for grabs, and who can be that second tier.
Yep.
In a few years. I like Chad Morris. I liked what he did at SMU. I thought he was a heck of a coach. 17 returners is nice to be able to build off of, but they're not his guys, so I don't put as much stock into it.
Okay. Dylan?
Yeah, I mean, for both teams, you still got to adjust to these newer coaches. Obviously, Arkansas is completely new with Chad Morris, and then Ole Miss still getting used to Matt Luke. You just got to get used to them and go through these growing pains as they continue to grow under the I don't know. I think both of them just got to try to exceed their expectations and
Yeah.
get better.
Ole Miss, I got 2 goals for the season for them. 1 is 7 wins, basically just so you can keep going up from last year. And 2, beat your rivals. Those are your bowl games this year. That is the way. I mean, the way to be remembered is to ruin someone's season when you have a bowl ban. Mm-hmm. So you got to beat your rivals and just ruin someone's season. Arkansas, I think bowl eligible. That's the goal for me. That would be exceeding expectations for Chad Morris.
So you're higher on Ole Miss than Arkansas?
Yes.
Yeah.
A little bit, but
not by much, but just like a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of how my records are, except for I have Arkansas just a bit higher than Ole Miss. Like I said, I don't buy the Matt Luke hype right now. I need him to prove it. For that, I have them going 4-8. I think they struggle a lot. Mm-hmm. I have Arkansas at 5-7.
Okay.
I think 6-6 would be a good year for Ole Miss. We got to put that out there. I think I said like a bowl eligible would be great for Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. I think that would be a great year for them.
And like 1 or 2 ruin somebody's season. I mean,
I don't care if they do that. If they're a bowl eligible, I don't care.
That's the only way to be remembered for this year.
But what I'm saying is,
you look at a Texas A&M if they're
but like
high,
bowl
like
eligible,
said,
I think bowl eligible still means something, even if you're not going to the bowl. Still being 6-6 to be bowl eligible, okay. I don't think you're going to change that in the players' heads.
Kind of.
But like what I said, 4-8, you take their 4 wins; those are going to come in hand. to get those last 2 wins, they're going to have to spoil someone else's season. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't look at it. Look at their schedule.
Yeah.
I said they get 4 wins, 4 and 8. To take out their 4 easy games. Or 4 games that you think are easy, whatever. In order to get wins number 5 and 6, they're going to have to ruin someone else's schedule or season.
Right. Yep.
So I think those go hand in hand. I don't think it's like a necessity where like that's going to make them successful. I think it's just like a addition, like a cherry on top of getting to 6 wins.
Okay. Yep. Dylan?
Yeah, I have 5 and 7 for both. I think Ole Miss will beat Arkansas, so they finish ahead in the SEC rankings, but I can't buy either of them being 500.
Okay. I have Ole Miss going 5 and 7, 2 and 6 in the conference, finishing 6th in the West. They lost their top rusher and Shea Patterson, so I think that's also huge. Also, they won't be motivated a lot in a lot of these games, especially late in the year. If they're, like, I just feel like they won't care unless they want to ruin Mississippi State season. Like if they're 10 and 2, like I have. Then Arkansas, they returned 17 starters, but I'm not a huge fan of Chad Morris. I'm not as high as Jason is, as he went 14 and 3. He is 14 and 23 in his career as a head coach so far. And I have them at 5 and 7, 1 and 7 in the conference, and finishing 7th in the West. So let's move on to our surprise team of the year out of the SEC West.
I feel like you can tell who they are by the way we get through. Mine's obviously Texas A&M. Yours is obviously Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Like I think it's pretty obvious. Dylan.
I have LSU in a bad way.
Okay.
Yeah. I think, like, obviously LSU is going to have those expectations every year. And
do you think, like, to the casual fan, like LSU not being good will be?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm with you.
Yeah, that makes sense. Obviously Mississippi State for me. I want to make one more point. Nick Fitzgerald, closest thing to Johnny Manziel and Baker Mayfield we've seen so far.
Do not say that, Dan. Do not say that.
Name another one, huh? Shea Patterson.
I love Shea Bay.
Okay.
Shout out Shea Bay. Probably closest, like Baker Mayfield. I think it's Johnny Manziel, tier 1, Baker Mayfield right below that. Then there's a big gap.
I think they're both tier 1. I think Johnny Manziel definitely was a better college football player, but I think they're definitely both tier 1.
Baker has more accolades. Yeah, he went to the Rose Bowl, and I'm just saying, like, I have Johnny. Like if I'm going to pick one to watch play, Johnny tier 1, Baker close at tier 2.
Okay.
Then like tier 5 or 6, Nick Fitzgerald. Like I'm gonna put him in that conversation. Okay. He's not in that conversation yet.
All right. He will be at the end of the season. Anyway,
we'll see.
Let's move on to our top NFL draft prospect.
Mine's AJ Brown. He's a freaking baller, and I'm a sucker for receivers because if you can go up and get that ball, I love watching it. I think he's a guy that's gonna be a bright spot on Ole Miss. Let him go shine. Have Jordan Ta'amu, however you say his name, Ta'amu, or however you say it. He's the senior guy for Ole Miss, the quarterback. Have him just go up and sling it. Throw the ball to A.J. Brown 15 times. Let him break the receptions record. Like, just let him go out and ball. Like, I think that's really one of those things that you asked, like, what's a goal for them? Like, let A.J. Brown go ball, and I think he's going to have a heck of a season.
I'm going to go with Jonah Williams, the offensive tackle, the left tackle for Alabama. He's going to be the anchor of their line. Outland Trophy candidate.
Oh, lock. He's locked. He's definitely got the Outland Trophy in the bag. He's so good.
And he will be protecting Tua to a national championship.
Nelson should have won last year.
Who won it last year?
Was it?
You can't make these comments.
Was it Ed Oliver? Is Outland the best lineman or best offensive lineman?
I'll look. Keep talking.
Pretty sure it was Ed Oliver.
I'll look while you continue to talk. It was Ed Oliver. Shout out.
There you go. So I got Greedy Williams as my best draft prospect. He's the best corner in the draft. Had a breakout season for LSU last year. He led the SEC in interceptions and was third in pass breakups.
I had him on there. He was the one I was between with A.J. Brown, but I was
between him and Jonah Williams.
Really?
So, yeah.
For me, it was A.J. Brown and Greedy, and I was like, you know what? I love offense. I got to go offense. So, yeah. I mean, this is going to be fun when I have a feeling of this Heisman Contenders conversation coming up.
Heisman Contenders. What do you got?
I got Tua. No, I'm just kidding. I have Jarrett Stidham as the only guy that has the best chance in the SEC. Right. Like I said, last year, I think you might have been the guy that said Stidham had a chance to win Heisman. Maybe it was your brother. I forget which. Someone said he was going to ball. He was a dark horse. I said, maybe. Wasn't sold on him. I love him this year. I think Stidham goes out, fires it 40, 50 times, air raid offense. Let him go sling it. I love Stidham.
So where do you think he,
I think he could win it, but I don't think he will. He could, but won't.
All right.
I think he finishes top 5, top 6. I think that's the closest
Okay.
in the SEC. It's hard in the SEC because so many teams can knock you out. Because you have to have a good record. Like, Nick Fitzgerald might be the best quarterback, but I don't think they're good enough to. Like, if he goes 8-4, I'm not giving the Heisman to an 8-4 quarterback.
Well, what Lamar Jackson go?
I also didn't think he should
9-3.
win. You know that I said
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson. You can check any of my tweets. Deshaun Watson was my pick that year. Like, I don't think you can
I'm
give
just
it
saying.
to. It's possible. I'm just saying I don't think. I don't give it to somebody that's not in the playoff contention, and I don't see them being in there.
I've got 4: Tua,
4.
Jarrett Stidham,
Damon Harris.
Damon Harris, and Nick Fitzgerald.
I don't know how Tua and Damon Harris can be in the conversation. Like, they're going to either pass heavy or run heavy. So, like, I don't know. I just feel like one's got. I don't know. I don't think anybody from Alabama's going to be in the
Matt
conversation.
Leinart and Reggie Bush.
I know, that's crazy. That was such a good team. The Bush Dan.
All right. Why do you got to ruin the vibe? I mean, come on.
Bush. Vince Young, around the edge. Win. What a game.
But my Heisman contenders, I agree with all of them except for Damon Harris. That's interesting though. I can actually see that. So yeah, Nick Fitzgerald, Tua, and Jarrett Stidham. I think these are 3 of the top 10 to 15 quarterbacks in the country. If each team finishes with double-digit wins, then they will definitely be looked at.
I do not think the Heisman comes out of the SEC.
Okay.
Do you?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I don't know yet.
I don't either. I have no else in the other conferences, but they're not doing it. I just don't like. There's
Jonathan
no one.
Taylor, Bryce Love are the 2 favorites right now.
Yeah,
I
like
don't think
Jonathan
Bryce Love
Taylor.
does. I don't think Stanford will be.
Okay. I like Jonathan
Okay.
Taylor a lot. I mean, his schedule's cake.
Check out
so.
Hot Takes. You have him getting drafted by the Giants.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Brandon Wimbush, Heisman contender. Dan?
No.
Rashawn Gary, defense. No.
The only guy.
Noah Fant from Iowa. I'm just
The only
reading
guy
the Phil
that
Steele
can-
cover. I have no idea who these guys are. I know all of them are, but Noah Fant.
No, the only defensive guy that could maybe be a Heisman contender is Ed Oliver, but
And Oliver is a stud, bro. He
but
might
it's
go
not
number, he might go number 1 next year in the draft. He should go number 1 in the year.
yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Well, that'll do it. I mean, Dan, you got any last thoughts? What's coming up these next few days? You got anything college football wise?
No,
No.
not really.
All right. Well, that'll probably end the week unless something big happens. So we'll see you back Monday or Tuesday of next week. We'll go into our first NFL show most likely, unless, like I said, something big happens. We'll go NFL Monday. Ideally, we'll go some college football in the middle of the week and then finish it up with the NBA. But that could be sporadic depending on how free agency, all that jazz, all goes down. Like, if you've listened to it this far, you know where to find the show. But just in case somehow you don't, you can find it on Periscope, iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, hopefully Spotify. We're getting there. It's still pending. We're hoping to get Spotify up in the next week or so. So if you could put in a good word to Spotify. Follow us on Twitter at The Sports Sermon, sports with a Z. It should be a good next couple of weeks. We're going to be introducing some new shows. Ideally, some like debate shows. It'll look a little like First Take. That should be some fun stuff going on. Jordan LeBron, that'll get heated. Stuff like that. So it should be a good time. Thank you for listening, and we will see you guys next week. Have a good rest of your weekend.